Hello, and welcome to the Steve and Mark Discuss podcast, where Steve will raise a topic, I will listen and respond, and Steve may respond to my responses. Okay, so over to Steve.
Hi, people. So, what price war? I'll tell you, it isn't cheap. There's been a tally made uh, about how much the Ukraine has received for their war efforts since the beginning of the war.
Mm.
It's over $200 billion.
Mm.
From 54 countries chipped in for this effort
Mm.
against Russia. Um, 500 NATO and or US spacecraft were used. 70 military satellites were used.
Mm.
200 air defense systems were used.
Mm.
5,220 tanks and armored vehicles were used in this. That's an awful lot of equipment. That's an
Mm.
awful lot of money, you know. So you've got to ask yourself, where's it gone? Because the United States don't know.
Mm.
You know, they're wanting to send more tanks across, but they don't know where to send them,
Mm.
and they don't know who's going to operate them. And it's just really, really strange
Mm.
that all this equipment has been sent or been used by Ukraine,
Mm.
and they still want more. So unless somebody's dad's got a scrapyard, so they can weigh all the metal
Mm.
in the vehicles that don't work.
Yeah.
Um, what we do know is that Zelensky's bank account is around about $1 billion. He
Mm.
get he gets a fair whack, gets a fair whack.
Mm.
Mohammed Al Alansi, he got a fair whack, killed him.
Mm.
He's a journalist, an Egyptian journalist that broke that um, the mother-in-law,
Mm.
Zelensky's mother-in-law, had bought that $4.1 million mansion in
Mm.
Egypt.
All right. Yes.
So, uh, a month or so later, he lost his life.
Unfortunate
Don't
accident. Yeah.
don't know why. They say that loose lips sink ships, you know. But that's what a journalist does, I suppose.
Well, it's their job.
So
Yes.
it's a little conundrum for you. Let's get a little short podcasting about this here. It's a lot of money, a lot of equipment.
Mm.
Difficult to say where it's gone. I'll leave that conundrum for you, Sherlock.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I always understood that wherever the US manages to appear to the war, the US manages to go to, they manage to mislay the odd helicopter or so. I've often heard this. Um, yeah, I mean, I thought this ages ago, Ukraine, the amount of hardware that's gone there, military hardware that's gone there. Um, and, hang on, Russia is still hanging around in the neighborhood, don't seem to be really particularly, I wouldn't say bothered by it. I mean, yeah, war is a funny thing, scarred by it. Um, it is yeah, there's a lot of questions that I have always had, even leading up to it, the conflict, what's going down. Yeah, well, I think we spoke about this before, so I'm not going to have a go around here. Now, obviously, the US, they managed to abandon a load of equipment elsewhere in the world, Afghanistan, which was very strange. I've actually heard that Israel may or may not be finding some American rifles in some caches in
Gaza.
places. Yeah, it's a it's a peculiar thing. I mean, yes, let's just put it this way: Ukraine has been given enough to survive, and I think there's been big questions. We mentioned this in a podcast a while ago that people are getting asked questions. Is it good value for money what Ukraine are? Russia are going to be Russia. It is a territorial dispute, local one, really. I don't. I come from Europe. I don't particularly fear Putin anymore, but I feared Russia my entire life. Okay, if Russia decided to go on the rampage across Europe, I don't think there's anything anyone could really do about it. This is kind of proving it. I mean, yeah, logically, there's something weird. Wherever you're going to have loads of arms floating in, you're going to have dealers. I mean, Hollywood for years has made big thing of this. The deals, the Eastern European mafia are going to be there picking
Well,
up
Mark,
stuff.
I ask myself, where do you buy a tank? Where do you go to buy a tank?
Well, I know what we got. Yeah.
Well, I mean, unless you go to a tank shop, of course, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, there's an awful lot of tanks and armored vehicles sent to Ukraine. There's got to be something that's really, really, really.
Well, yeah. I mean,
people aren't saying the quiet part out loud.
Of course they're not.
And
I mean, there's vested interests in this happening because it keeps the armament industry a nice little earner. Something disappears, replace it. You claim it blew up. You got scrap metal. I mean, who's doing forensic examinations and all these pieces of equipment, all these bits of metal everywhere? Yeah.
But like you said, Israel is starting to find American arms in Gaza. So they're sort of just floating through, and so it wouldn't surprise me. That's why we've got so many wars in the world. Currently, there are 57 countries. 57 countries who. It was a guy called Aaron Baston, I think his name is. He said that we don't have a World War III. What we have is a world at war.
Yeah.
So you've got your 54 countries involved in this by proxy.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Middle East flaring up. Then you've got Southeast Asia flaring up. You've always had Africa.
Oh yeah.
Flaring, and so somebody somewhere is having a war with somebody.
Yeah.
But I mean an open war. I don't mean just a.
Yeah.
I did a check on a website about how many wars there were in the world, and the class wars, like Mexico against the drug cartel. That's sort of. But that to me isn't a war. That's an internal struggle. To me, a war needs to be between two nations.
Yeah.
And there are so many wars kicking around.
Well, yeah, of course. If
everybody kept quiet and listened, they'd hear a bomb going off somewhere in this world.
Oh yeah. I mean, if we're talking about a war against drug cartels, we live in a country. Let's be honest that we've got a state near us that's pretty good at that. You see the Boppy every so often race in there, and they are a military operation. The Boppy are. Well, our local ones, that was a CIPD is our local Boppy, but yeah, in Rio. The trouble is, it's been glamorized. Our local drug things have been dramatized by, visiting cinema with things and Troupe de l'Élite and other films. But I'm not going to drill on that because I really don't see much of it. I mean, people think they watch these films, and I always get asked, or sometimes get asked, do you see all this? No, this states where it happens away from me. But yes, getting back to your original issue, Yeah, I mean, yeah, shipping things down to Africa wouldn't be difficult from Ukraine. It's not that far. Obviously, get them into the Middle East, probably not difficult. Who knows what's going on ship? I mean, yeah, you can track ships, but yeah, I mean, how do you smuggle a tank out of anywhere? Well,
That's what I'm saying. And if you got 10 to sell,
yeah. Go on the dark web maybe for find out what's going down. But yeah,
well,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. How do you physically do it? That's there's some mastermind somewhere who's worked it all out, and he's
well,
making money over fist.
does a tank fit? Does a tank fit into a container? I don't know. I mean, I bet some in the world, the Scorpions probably, or things like that size probably would, but I don't know about the Big Chief or what's the American ones? The Leopard, is it Leopard?
Abrams.
No. Yeah, yeah, the leopards are the German ones. Yeah, yeah, there's meant to be some leopards there. Yeah, of course there's going to be arms deals going. I mean, rifles are really easy to get out anywhere. I
It
imagine.
wouldn't surprise me if the Ukrainians are laughing at the joke that when I was a schoolboy, it was how many nuns could you get into a mini car,
Mm.
and the Ukrainians are saying how many tanks can you get into a container, and they just and they're just laughing, laughing, laughing.
Yeah, yeah.
Depends on how much you want to pay, I suppose, with the
Yeah.
answer.
It wouldn't be impossible to think that the tanks are actually going through Russia and actually heading out somewhere else.